Yeah, I figured why not take a 20-minute break from Starfield to talk about what I read in August. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another monthly wrap-up, this time for August of 2023. Very exciting month on the channel because I think I did a little bit of everything. It felt like I was multi-genre, multi-format, and lots of surprises, I think, that came my way in the month of August. And we're going to talk about all of those and more today. Let's begin, guys, like usual, talking about what I read in the month of August. Now, I read 4 novels. I read 3 novellas, and I read 4 manga. I also have 3 incompletes or in the process there. These were ones that weren't exactly planned this month, but I didn't quite finish them before the calendar rolled over. So you're going to have to take a ruler and crack it on my knuckles and tell me to stop being over ambitious on some of these things, especially now that my reading has slowed down because of the release of a very, very popular video game. Happens from time to time, guys. I'm still working on The Passage by Justin Cronin. Toll the Hounds, like I said, Stephen Erickson, that's going to be months. I'm going to be working on that. And The Lost Hero, Percy Jackson, I did resume that with my kids. So that's just kind of, chapter or 2 per night. So that's always going to take. But we're actually resuming that one. We're about 65% through that book, but we took the whole summer off. So we're kind of getting caught back up on that one. The Passage I'm liking, but I am only about halfway through it. But I wanted to kind of bring them up here. So those will roll over into eligible for, Book of the Month in September, should I finish them in that month. Let's go ahead and talk about what I actually did read, though. I'm going to combine some of these novellas and novels because they are for the same series. The Vital Abyss is obviously an Expanse novella, and Babylon's Ashes. Had a good time with these two because I think that Nemesis Games was just so awesome. That was my book of the month last month, and Babylon Games seems like it gets dunked on by the fandom a lot. I always see it constantly ranked 8th or 9th in the entire series. For me personally, I haven't had a bad book in the series yet, but I can see why this is probably people's least favorite. It did feel almost like a transitory book, which is not what I was expecting after Nemesis Games was just like amazing. It felt like the criticism I have of it is it felt like a lot of those storylines, it just felt like they wanted to be done with them. And that was not really what I thought was going to happen, with the Free Navy storyline. It just seemed like they were just kind of ready to move on to the next thing, setting up the final phase of the story pre-time skip. So, I like the book overall. I just would say I was let down a little bit by the resolution to some of those hanging threads left over from Nemesis Games. But again, guys, there hasn't been a bad Expanse book. A couple of the novellas haven't missed. Vital Abyss was pretty good. It's not one of my favorites, but I'm enjoying those novellas for what they are. Good companion pieces to build this universe out. The next one, guys, is the novella was The Ice. That actually isn't out yet for The Bound and the Broken. That was a review copy, and obviously of War and Ruin. So I had a lot of Bound and the Broken on the channel and in my schedule for the month, and very happy to do it, guys. I'm loving this series to death. I hope more of you will give it a try because The Ice. This guy is just making like novellas. It's weird because most of these series that have these little small novellas stuff, you can skip them and I feel like you're fine. These are so full of goodies that you're going to want to know in the main storyline. I think they help things come together. And The Ice answers a lot of questions that I've had since A Blood and Fire that I think I wanted to know about. And you do get those answers. So it was very, very exciting for me. So thank you, Ryan, for sending that to me. City of Dragons by Robin Hobb is easily the best of the Rainwild Chronicles so far. As you guys know, I didn't like book 1. I thought book 2 might be the worst in all the Realm of the Eldlings. Well, City of Dragons was pretty good. I liked it for the most part. I still have problems with I don't really like the characters very much. Tymara's not very likable. I'm not really crazy about Tats, Rapskull, any of them. I think that the dragons are kind of unlikable, but I think this book did some really, really great stuff that Robin Hobb is just amazing at, and that is world building, her lore, her history, the stuff with the Memory Stone. Just that is what I read Realm of the Eldlings for. That stuff she continues to be the queen at. I really, really like that stuff a lot. And I felt like that one scenario has kind of saved Rainwild Chronicles for me, where I was being like, I'm feeling like maybe I should just go ahead and skip the Fitz and the Fool. That's kind of what I was thinking about. But no, I'm interested to see how she does, hopefully does land it in Blood of Dragons. But City of Dragons, pretty good. I liked it quite a bit. Again, I feel like it's unusual that there's such a miss with the characters in this series. But I think maybe if this was something I'd read when I was younger, maybe I'd be attached to these teenage drama characters a little more. But right now it's not really working. But City of Dragons, a big step up, and it feels like it does belong in the realm of the Elderlings. Locked Doors and then Break You. Break You is the novella, kind of more like an epilogue, I would say, for the Andrew Z. Thomas series here, because we're kind of transitioning to just Luther Kite. So it's kind of the epilogue, if you will, the coda for Mr. Andrew Z. Thomas. But Locked Doors, I didn't like it as much as Desert Places, because I felt like Desert Places was focused just from Andrew's point of view, whereas what Locked Doors and Break You kind of take you through several different characters, which is fine, because like I said, I don't think Blake Crouch could miss with me at this point. I think everything he's done has been really great, and this was another great entry, but Desert Places was still my favorite of that. If you want to call it a trilogy, like I said, Break You is like 85 pages, so I can't really call it book 3 in the series, but there we are. And then, guys, the big one, the big surprise, One Piece. I read volumes 1 through 4. Watch the book haul there this week. If you want a little bit more of a story on why I started reading One Piece, because just some very nice viewers, I think, got together and got me. It might just be one person. It might be a group. I don't know. They won't send their name, but they have sent me some One Piece box sets. And yeah, I felt like, hey, it's a perfect storm with the Netflix adaptation. My kid wanted to watch it, so I started reading them. I read 4 of them. I'm actually on volume 7 right now. So for all the people that are like, hey man, read it, just read it, catch up, I have been reading it. But yeah, that was everything that I did read for the month. So what is that book of the month, you might ask? I think this one, if you watch the weekly updates, I think it's pretty easy to figure this one out. But if you haven't, if you're new to the channel, maybe you're just now catching up, for the second time, Ryan Cahill, book of the month on this channel. Of War and Ruin is easily, guys, one of the best fantasy books I've read in a few years, without a doubt, which is amazing because it's this big. And I will be honest with you, I think Ryan has an amazing process. I've talked to him for 3 hours on the channel. He told me all about his process. But going into this book, I was like, this is where I think maybe self-pub might have a problem, because you don't know when to stop yourself. Guys, there's not a dull moment in this book. There's not a page wasted. There's nothing in this book that I would cut out. And that's incredible. And the most amazing thing about Of War and Ruin is he has a few dozen characters, and he has at least 10 to 12 different storylines going on at the same time. And yet it's perfectly balanced. You're never at a point where you're like, but I want to know what's going on with those characters. You never feel like that. You never feel like you aren't liking one of these stories. That's the thing. I could think about my least favorite plot thread in this book, and it's still better than almost every other fantasy book that I've read in the last couple of years. And I'm not being hyperbolic, guys. This completely blew me away. I did not expect. I really liked Blood and Fire. I thought Of Darkness and Light was a big step up. This blows them away, guys. This is an incredible book. And this book's as long as Storm of Swords. And I think about Storm of Swords being my favorite fantasy book of all time. That's the only other one I think that is this large, this big of a cast, and that many different plot threads, and it's balanced perfectly. So I'm being serious, guys. There is not a moment in this book where I felt like, oh, I don't want to read this right now. I want to get past this character. No, I like them all. The characters, you love them, you love to hate them. It doesn't matter. You give a damn about all of them, and all of these storylines are just coming to a head at the same time. It's just so good, guys. The finale is amazing, and I think the most impressive thing about it is all those characters in the first 2 books. You're like, okay, you got your clear-cut good guys, you got your clear-cut bad guys. He's given the bad guys, per se, such a deep layer and storylines now that you're starting to be like, oh, it's that thing where you see that they don't think they're the bad guys, and you can kind of empathize with them a little bit. It's amazing work, and he's doing something that only George R. R. Martin's done, in that he can have a big battle coming between these 2 groups, and you're like, oh yeah, it's time to fight. Oh no, they're fighting that other character that I love. I don't want anyone to die. It's been since Game of Thrones that I felt like that, when the Lannisters were fighting the Starks, where I was like, oh, but I like both of these sides, that's how it feels. And I know that's, guys, that is not a light comparison. I don't compare very many people to George R. R. Martin or A Song of Ice and Fire at all. And this is really good, guys. This is amazing. Ryan just continues to level up with every book, and I can't wait to see what book 4 has, because this is not just my book of the month, guys. This is one of the best books I've read this year, bar none. If it isn't for Lonesome Dove, this would probably be the best book that I've read this year. So if you guys are still reluctant to give this series a try, I don't know what to tell you. I can't sell it any harder than I have. And this isn't because I've had some people be like, oh, it's just because you and Ryan are friends now. That doesn't mean nothing. There's lots of people I consider friends that are authors now that I don't really pump their books out. I don't bullshit you guys. I'm honest about these things. And if I wasn't loving it this month, I would not be putting my stamp of approval on it. And I do. This book is incredible. The series just gets better and better, guys. So forget what you've heard, man. Just give it a try. You didn't like book 1 that much? Just trust the process. It's going to get there, because it's worth it just to read A War and Ruin. Book took me 3 weeks. But you know what? I wish it would have lasted longer, because I did not want it to end. That is why it is my book of the month for August of 2023. Hope you guys will check it out. It's just a wonderful series. As for some other things, guys, channel growth for the month. Guys, this was the best month on the channel for 2023. All the way around. It's actually kind of amazing. It's going to be the reason that we're going to hit 100,000 subs in September, because we added 2,400 subscribers in the month of August, guys. That's up 347 from July. That is the highest single month of 2023 as far as subscribers go. So thank you guys so much. I'm glad so many new people are continuing to click the subscribe button. It's 476,000 views, guys. That's up 44,000 from July. Also the single highest month of 2023. 81,000 hours watched. It's up 6,000 from July. Not the best for the month. I'm sorry, for the year, but it's my third best for the year. So I think, though, that Talk About Nothing I have with Murphy really blew up a couple of my other Talk About Nothings, and I got my my hours watched kind of higher earlier in the year. But as far as everything, guys, you got 3 green arrows in these categories as a content creator. It's what you want to see. Obviously, the subscriber count's nice. I always say that engagement, hours watched, views, that's more important to a content creator. But when you see 3 green arrows for the month, it always makes you feel, puts a little extra pep in your step, I think, as a content creator. So thank you guys so much for making this such a big month. Now let's move ahead to most popular content. Let's talk about why those numbers were all up. I think the biggest thing is just getting out consistent content. People always ask me, how do you continue to grow your channel? Just be consistent. You say you're going to put out 3 videos a week, put out 3 videos a week. It just don't disappear and things. And even when I went on vacation, guys, I had some videos kind of planned ahead. 14 videos this month for coffee shorts, as I'm now calling them, and 2 live streams. So live streams went down this month, but I still felt pretty good about the amount of content that we did get out. Let's talk about those 5 biggest ones for the month. Why can't they get fantasy adaptations right? That one had 16,000 views as I'm talking about this, and that was a lot of fun for me, because I expected to get railed in the comments for that video, because I just talked about why I think that a lot of these adaptations are failing, and I know that there are a lot of people that will defend some of these adaptations to the death. So I think to be on board with it, you had to agree that these adaptations were not very well done. What it was, guys, I have a business major, I have a minor in marketing, so I applied some things I think if I was in charge, maybe what I would be doing differently, and I think that they are easy to see things about why some of these adaptations are failing. It really just comes down to you're not listening to your audience, and you're not being faithful to the source material, and that's very, very easy. You're hiring the wrong people. So I'm glad the feedback that I got on that one was mostly positive. There are a few not so nice comments, but I mean, that's any video on a channel like this. The Name of the Wind, I did, it's like my surprise review, because people know that I wasn't too hot on Name of the Wind, but I wanted to give it the fair treatment. I never gave it a standard review on this channel. And see, guys, I don't abhor this book. There are lots of things that I do like about it. Really, the thing is, I don't understand why it's treated as Book of a Generation. That's what I don't get. I talk about that in there. And I put a nice reading excerpt intro at the beginning of it, since I know it's a lot of people's favorite book. I want to make them feel like I was handling it with care, even though they knew that I was not going to be quite as high on it as they were. So I enjoyed getting to finally talk about it. And yeah, as you can see, guys, I talked as long about the things I liked as the things I did not like. So it's very much a mixed book for me than it is just a full-on negative, as I've gotten a reputation for. But hey, it is what it is. I was happy to talk about it. That one had 14,000 views. The book haul for July 2023, 12 100,000 views anytime you get to do a book haul. That's one of my most popular videos each month. It's nice when it's not the top video for the month. It means there's other things that I had, because I feel like that one's an easy one. Everybody's always anxious to see the new things that you added, and I think it creates good conversation. But for me, it's just always getting to say thank you to viewers who continue to send me stuff. It's just so nice. It's so thoughtful, and I just can't say thank you enough. So that's why I like to do those book hauls each month. And then I did a couple of series of videos. I did my popular sci-fi books I still want to read. That one had 11,000 views. Now, what the thing with that was I want to talk about books. We weren't going to surprise anybody with these. These are all books everyone's heard of if they've read any sci-fi at all. And I just wanted to say, hey, these are the ones that I think people are all like, oh my God, I can't believe you haven't read that. And say these are going to be making their way onto my list sooner rather than later. That one, and of course its counterpart, the popular fantasy books I still want to read. Both these with about 11,000 views and lots of good feedback on both of them. The thing with the fantasy one is I think I have more that I'm very anxious to read than the sci-fi one. So there were several that I left out. Like even while I was recording it, I thought of a couple that I left out. Like I left out Elric, I left out Chronicles of Amber. It's going to happen because there's so many great fantasy series. But the purpose of those videos really is to say that no one has time to read everything. So I've heard these recommendations, and I would like to read them. And that's just me kind of giving myself a kick in the pants to say, so let's do that. Like I'm already reading Flowers for Algernon right now, so I've already started on the popular sci-fi one, and I've got some of the popular fantasy ones on my schedule already. So I'm excited to get to talk about that. So the biggest thing, guys, this month is I had 9 videos that eclipsed 10,000 views. For me, that's great. That's amazing. So again, thank you guys so much for making this such a successful month and pushing us towards the finish line here of hitting that 100,000 subscriber goal on the channel. I did a couple of live chats that didn't really get the views as these, but I want to talk about it because they were a lot of fun for me. Obviously, getting to talk about Lightbringer with HowlerPod. I can't thank HowlerPod enough for spending the time with me that they have to talk about 6 of these books, for an hour a piece. It's been so fun for me, guys, because I was a fan of HowlerPod back before this channel was even doing anything. I discovered them when Dark Age came out, and I didn't know anybody that was reading the Red Rising sequels, and I wanted to hear someone talking about them, and that's how I discovered them. So the fact that I was a fan of their channel and they have come here and talked to me for this long, it's just been so fun. I think Ben and Aaron are just wonderful, wonderful human beings and exceptional howlers. I'm so excited that they said yes when I asked them to come on the channel and talk to me. And it's going to be a long wait till I get to talk to them again for Red God, hopefully not too long from now. And then I did my Talk About Nothing again with Philip. I just miss Philip. Philip's my guy, and I didn't talk to him in a while. We hadn't collaborated. We haven't been doing our panel, the Elderlings thing. It's just so hard to get 5 of us together on the same night and stuff. So I said, hey, you know what? We haven't gotten together in a while. Let's just talk, see what's going on. And we did a really deep dive into Lord of the Rings in that, and that was just great for me because whenever you talk to Philip, you feel like you're learning something. So I wanted to kind of highlight that video because I did have a good time doing it. I hope you guys will give it a listen. So do I have any goals for September? I kind of tipped my hat a little bit. Yes, we will be hitting 100,000 subscribers probably this week, unless there's some big purge or something like that. That is a goal that I could have never even fathomed when I started this channel. I think, seriously, my pie in the sky goal was to hit 10,000 subscribers one day. And I thought that would take me like a decade, even if I was having minimal success. But I'm overwhelmed. I can't believe it's here. It just seems like one of those things I've kind of just thought about for the last few years. And like I always say, guys, in the end, it doesn't matter. It's just a nice achievement as a content creator. Get that silver play button, feel like you've made some kind of achievement, But for me, the bigger one is that I'm in the top 2,000 entertainers in America on YouTube. That's wow. I can't even imagine. You know how many users there are on YouTube? That's really impressive for me as a goal myself. But crossing that line it's going to feel good. But it's just going to be business as usual, guys. But I do have something special coming. Hopefully, I'm still trying to put it together as a celebration for 100,000 subscribers. So thank you guys in advance so much. Really just kind of get everything clear for spooky season. If you guys don't know, October's always a fun time on the channel because they talk about a bunch of horror books. Now, there's going to be other content. It's not going to be 100% horror for the month. Don't worry about that. But I do like to read a lot of horror in October. That's going to be something that changes next year. I'll still do spooky season, but I'm trying to get, I'm not going to hold all of my horror reads for the year to 1 month. I'm going to try to spread them out through the year and in October. That's the goal. But yeah, getting ready for that, and then just start ramping up some ideas for end of the year content. It's always a lot of fun. I'm going to do the same things that I usually do, but I'm trying to come up with some new ideas for end of the year content. I can't believe we are approaching that time already. But in the end, guys, like I say, I just like to continue to make this feel like a positive and welcoming community for everyone. Don't care what you do in your spare time. You like to read? You are welcome here. I will always welcome you with open arms. I hope that you will jump on the Discord and say hello, because I love to interact with you guys, and that is the best way to do it. So, guys, that was the month of August. Very, very exciting month for me. I know there's a lot of surprises on here, like me reading One Piece and things like that. And I like to keep the channel fresh and exciting like that. So again, thank you to everyone who was involved with that, and everyone who's been very, very positive about it. I appreciate it. It's been quite an eye-opening experience the last 1 week plus here on the channel, and it was a very exciting month overall. So tell me, guys, what you did in August. Tell me what was your book of the month for August. Have you read Of War and Ruin? Have you read The Bound and the Broken? I think that you guys would like it a lot. So let me know your book of the month. Let me know, hey, what was your favorite video, your least favorite video that I put out this month? These things are always fun to talk about down below. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm just glad that you're here. So drop in the comments, guys, and I will talk to you there.